Hello, friends. It's Nancy from Astrology and Angel Mediums today with another weekly check-in. So blessed Mabon, and I will actually be using the Seasons of the Witch Mabon Oracle for a little bit of extra clarity and to see kind of what to expect this week. So this is going to be a reading for the week of September 22nd through, what would Saturday be? The 28th. So through Saturday the 28th. So let's see what the cards have in store for us. What messages do we need to kind of keep in mind? What sort of energy is entering for us at this time? So it's a little bit of like an overcast day today. It finally cooled off, so we're finally seeing some cooler weather welcoming in the winds of change. And we also have, I think, a little bit of snow already on some of the higher peaks where I live. I live in Colorado, so all right, y'all ready? Now let's see what we need. I'm going to move this little guy over here. So very first card is going to be what we need to know. So what do we need to know? We have the Child of Swords. Next to that, we have what we need to do, the Six of Pentacles. I think we got this card last week. And then next to that, we have what we need to release. So the Nine of Pentacles and what we need to contemplate, the Eight of Wands. Okay. Lots. It's interesting that we don't have any kind of cups. So it may not be as an emotional week, which I think is sometimes nice. I think a lot of us have had a lot of emotional things happening. So it's nice to get a little bit of this kind of energy of possibly being able to focus more on what we actually want. So with the very first card, this is the what we need to know. So the Child of Swords, or the Page of Swords, is essentially kind of saying that maybe we need to kind of refocus on what we believe in, maybe taking a risk, kind of getting out there, being more aware of communicating, connecting, speaking about the things that maybe are coming up for us that we find valuable, that we find important and significant. The other thing with the Page of Swords, I feel like it's very much this energy of not being afraid to start something new, especially if it's something that you haven't really done before, especially if there's an opportunity to kind of get out there in some new way. I think that the Page of Swords is very much this kind of energy of being like, it's okay if I don't know how it's going to be or what I should be doing with this, but I'm going to at least try. And there's a little bit of this sense of like a spark and also this like childlike wonder. I like to look at the pages as the energy of like a little fool. So the Fool is all about trust and taking that leap and kind of getting out there and doing something new. The Page is very much that kind of energy, but more suited to the Swords energy. So this is more about like, maybe we need to kind of clear up some of the ways that we think about things. Maybe we need to be, more focused on like a positive expectancy, especially mentally, about what we're doing and how we're getting out there and what we're communicating and how we're connecting with others. The Swords are also very much about our truth, our power, our sense of justice. And so maybe this is kind of saying we need to cut away from certain things that are no longer aligned with our truth. Maybe we need to be a little bit more focused on this energy as far as how it's showing up in our lives. Have we been empowering ourselves with the ways that we communicate with others? Have we allowed ourselves to kind of change what we believe empowers us? Or have we been okay with our truth changing in some way? And I think some of us, as like we're growing and developing and going through life, and life can sometimes really change us in so many different ways. And we're not meant to be the exact same from beginning and that first breath until the last breath that we take. We're supposed to grow and change and shift. And And our perspective is also one of those things that is supposed to do that. And I think the Page of Swords is kind of saying, like, okay, so this is what we need to know. We need to know that something needs to shift. We need to kind of get out there. We need to kind of change how we've been doing certain things. And we have to be aware that it's okay if those things shift and become something else, or maybe don't look the way that we thought they were going to. So I think the biggest thing with that is just being aware. I always like want to check the microphone, because there's been a couple of times where I'll do a video and then it's like no sound. But I think the biggest thing with this is that it's an invitation to kind of change that story, change what we've been telling ourselves that maybe is no longer in alignment with who we are and what we're trying to do. So I think with this being like what we need to know, we're being given an opportunity to maybe cut away from something and kind of bring back our sense of truth in that. All right, now what do we need to do? We have the Six of Pentacles. We had this card, I think, last week, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to go back and see what video or what was in the video. And I think it was a card that just had kind of come out as an extra. And I think with the Six of Pentacles, the biggest takeaway, especially with this being like what we need to do, is that we need to kind of give and receive. We need to bring things back into balance. We're leaning too much into one thing, or maybe we've been focusing too much on one thing. Now, with this being Pentacles, this is very much a card of understanding the physical, the physicality of this card. So maybe we need to balance how we're taking care of our physical bodies. Maybe we need to balance what we're doing at work, our career, our finances, our physical home. Maybe we need to kind of bring things back into balance. I know for me, I love to kind of go through and declutter through the seasons. And I like to kind of take a step back and kind of honor each season with cleansing and kind of welcoming in that energy. Now, did I do that yesterday? No, I was a little bit tired. So I think with this is maybe a reminder that we do need to kind of focus on the things that bring us back into balance, to give and receive in equal measure. So for a lot of us, maybe we've been overgiving. Maybe we have been putting too much of ourselves into certain situations, maybe within our work, within our relationships, maybe at home. And so this is kind of saying like, hey, we got to bring this back into balance. You're not allowing yourself an opportunity to kind of also receive in that way, and to maybe balance things out so that things feel less rushed, or like you're having to pick and choose what is the priority and what it is that you want with everything here. So I think the Six of Pentacles with what we need to do is that maybe we need to kind of get back out there and see how we can bring different aspects of our lives, or different aspects of what we are requiring right now, to bring those things back into balance. Now, the other thing that I'm kind of getting with this is that maybe this is also about work. Maybe you've been pouring too much of yourself into your work, and so it's leaving nothing for the rest of your physical life. And unfortunately, I know that this can be something that many of us struggle with, me included. This is currently something I'm struggling with at the present moment. And so I feel like this is a very apt reminder for me that I need to bring things back into balance, because I have been pouring too much of myself into my actual full-time job. And it's something that is inhibiting me from being able to enjoy the other aspects of my life, including this kind of work, which is probably why you've noticed that I haven't been able to do a lot of videos or be as dedicated to doing like pick-up pile readings and things like that. They're very time consuming. And now I'm like, okay, but it's something that by me giving, I also receive from that. And right now I've been pouring into projects and other areas of my life that don't really feel like they're feeding me in the ways that I would like. And I think with the Six of Pentacles, it's very much that sort of energy. It's a reminder that maybe we need to kind of bring back a better balance, make better choices for ourselves, and, very much consider how we are showing up in certain areas of our lives, especially our physical lives, and how that is also benefiting us, or how that is also supporting us in some physical way so that we can carry on. Now, for what we need to release, we have the Nine of Pentacles. Now, again, this is a card that usually talks about you're almost there. This is your well-deserved rewards. This is blah, 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 blah. And maybe this is kind of saying you're hanging on to something that in essence seemed like a very good thing, or maybe you've put forth a lot of effort in order to make this thing work, but you're coming to the realization that maybe it's time to let that go. And the other thing that I'm kind of getting from this is, because this is what we need to release, that maybe we need to consider that just because we have something, or just because we've put a lot of effort into something, doesn't always mean that we're going to reap the rewards of that harvest, or that every seed that we plant is going to give us something in return. And so maybe we have to kind of understand that just because we've put forth the effort, it doesn't mean that the effort in and of itself isn't the reward. Maybe it's almost saying that we've been expecting a physical reward, a financial reward, maybe even like trying to change some physical things in ourselves and not seeing some of those shifts and those changes, or seeing the like actual, what are they called? Like the gains basically that we have made due to our focus. And I think with the release card here, it's almost saying like, because the number 9 in tarot, it is very much a number that's saying like you're almost there, but you have to let something go. And this being in the release, what's it called? Position. My goodness, I can't talk today. I think that it's really stating that we have to kind of let go of this ideology that, oh, well, I've been there for so long, or I've been doing this for so long. I've been, focusing on this and that and the other. I think that this is almost inviting us to understand that it's okay to kind of let go of certain things and to kind of move forward, because it's not really in alignment with what we're really needing at this time. And I think with this, it's almost saying like it's time to let it, be what it needs to be and kind of move on in some way. So maybe it's an opportunity for you to kind of move on into something that feels a little bit more physically aligned with who you are. Maybe it's you need to kind of change your space in some way. Maybe it's taking care of yourself in a different way. Maybe you got to kind of let go some of the things that you've been doing. Like I know for me, I've been kind of overdoing it already with the sugar. I need to stop doing that. But I think that this card is kind of symbolizing a little bit of this sense of your efforts may feel like they're not being rewarded at the current moment, but you will be rewarded because you have learned to just surrender and let go, and to not have that like handout kind of saying like, okay, when's my turn? When's my thing? What's going to happen with this? And I think with the 9 of Pentacles, there's also this sort of energy of saying like, I need to be compensated for what I've done. And I think that this is almost saying like you may feel like you're not being compensated right now, but you will be. If you kind of let that go and kind of like stop being maybe stubborn about, oh, I deserve to have this much, or I deserve to get paid this, or whatever, maybe you'll start to see that it is beneficial for you to kind of move into the next thing and just be rewarded in other ways, or maybe even be rewarded in the financial and physical ways that you're looking. And I think with the, the other 2 cards, it's almost saying like, okay, we have to kind of really get clear on what we believe, what we're speaking, what we're saying. We need to bring some things back into balance. We need to let go of this sense of, this is how I've been doing it all along. I don't know if I can change it now, because I don't know if by changing it, it's going to shift what is growing here. And I think that's the thing, is that sometimes you forget that our lives can be very, very pliable. Our lives can be very, very malleable, and we are very resilient, whether we feel that way or not. Now, finally, on what we need to contemplate, we have the 8 of Wands, which is essentially a card that's saying like you're getting your second wind, you're like up and going, like it's very much this energy of coming together and feeling momentum and feeling like things are finally moving in the direction that you want. And so while the beginning of the week may feel a little bit like you're trying to maybe establish the next tone that you would like for the rest of the year or what you want for yourself. Right now, it may feel a little bit uncomfortable. And I think that this is kind of saying, and as you kind of let go of being so stuck on what you've been doing, this will allow new energy to kind of come in and allow you to really shift what you've been thinking. It's almost like this is your opportunity to make your wish. This is your opportunity to kind of say, this is ideally what I would like my life to look like. This is how I would like my life to feel like for me. And it may feel very much like something is just going to kind of come in and sweep you off your feet, is almost like the energy that I like to associate with the Eight of Wands. It's going to feel very much like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. That kind of came out of left field. Or, oh, I didn't know like that was an option. Or, there's a sense of revelation. And with this being what you need to contemplate, I think that maybe you need to open yourself up to the possibility that things can actually work in your favor, or that things are trying to come together for you in other ways that maybe feel very unexpected. Even if right now you feel exhausted, even if you feel drained, even if you feel like there's no way out of this right now, or there's not really anything that has been changing, so why should I be expectant that things will change? I think if we just kind of look at the energies of this week and pay attention to what we're supposed to know, what we're supposed to do, what we got to let go of, that will really make way for us to contemplate what would it look like if your wishes were coming true? What would it look like if all of a sudden you were imbued with all of the energy that you've been missing and feel like you can start fresh? I know sometimes with the changing of the seasons, especially as we kind of move towards the latter ones in the year, it can feel very much like, well, this is a time where I got to let this go. I have to, fall is all about letting go. And, it's not really about planting new seeds, but maybe it is, in that sense, it is a rebirth, so to speak, because you're having to let go of something that's been holding you back so that you can really co-create a new life over the next few months, so that by spring, your seeds can finally really, bloom and blossom. And so I think that the energy right now, especially with this Eight of Wands, is maybe understanding that it's okay for you to have the joy and stability that you've been looking for, that maybe you need to kind of contemplate like what it is, what does that look like for you, as well as maybe even asking yourself, like, what actually makes me happy? What makes me feel stable? What makes me feel connected? And while it can be very much about, finding that passion, finding that movement, that travel, that fire, it's also an invitation, I think, to look at all of the other areas. It's that spark, that spark of things really taking off because you're ready for them to. It's almost saying that, are you ready to kind of say, all right, that's enough. I'm not going to keep doing things that don't really make me feel joyful or that make me feel, like open and receptive and excited about things. And can I do something different? Can I invite a new energy into my life that feels a lot better aligned with who I am and what I want? And I think that all of these cards are kind of saying, like, we're trying to set you up. We're trying to kind of get you moving into the next thing, whatever that may look like, whether it's a relationship, whether it's career, whether it's just an attitude, whether it's different things within yourself. I think that this week is going to feel a little bit more like things are, I don't want to say finalized, but maybe there is a sense of like things are wanting to be cleared out. They want to be cleared out. You want to kind of have a little bit more clarity. You want to have a little bit more direction, answers, guidance, and movement into the next phase of what you're trying to do with your life. So I do think that it is very much this kind of energy of, let's do this. Like, let's get into this next thing. Let's figure out what's going on with everything in our lives at the present moment. So let's see. What do we got? So this is from the Seasons of the Witch, the Mabon Oracle. Let's see what message we have for the beginning of fall. So St. John's wort and marigold. This says, against your will, there will not be, no entrance, no welcoming, be gone. All right. I don't really use this deck very often, so we're going to kind of look in the guidebook and see what we have inside of here. It's a beautiful deck. They have a bunch of different ones for the different seasons. So let's see what the messages are with this card. So protection against dark forces, repels negative or unwanted energies. And so this is kind of telling you that there's some negative energy swirling around you that may be affecting your spiritual well-being. And I think a lot of us have been kind of feeling a little bit down, a little bit out of sync, a little bit disconnected in some ways. And so maybe this is kind of telling you that this is an energy to manifest for you, like the things that you want. And so it can feel very much like things are not really coming together the way that you had anticipated. So it's just generally like a low energy. There's like nightmares, even like a sense of like a lot of heaviness. And I can attest to this just because of what I've been experiencing. I've just been sleeping so much and I just feel so tired. And I feel like no matter how much sleep I get, it's like I'm not getting enough rest. And so it can just feel like things that it's not because of anything that you're doing per se. This is just the energy at the current moment. And so maybe it's just kind of telling you like it's not meant to just be here to disrupt. It's trying to tell you like, if you don't, it's going to continue to disrupt your life because you have to take the steps in order to be able to remove whatever it is that is causing you harm or is kind of blocking you at this time. So I think that this is almost saying like, you know, are you feeling this type of way in certain situations, maybe around certain people? Maybe pay attention to who's around you, how they are, you know, making you feel. And I think that these both are kind of telling you that it's time to kind of move on from low vibrational energy. Maybe it's time to do some cleansing and clearing. Like I stated earlier, I like to kind of take some time out, you know, during the beginning of a season to kind of clear, declutter, cleanse, clean, and just kind of call in different energy. I reset my altars. I do a lot of different little things like that to kind of re-invite the energy of this season and kind of dismiss the previous season's energies. So I hope that that made sense. I just want to say thank you so much for joining me. Maybe it's a time to kind of be mindful of how we're cleansing and clearing and redirecting that energy, as well as being very aware of how other people's energies affect us. And if you have any questions or if you have any comments, let me know down below. Do you enjoy these little weekly check-ins? I hope you have a good one. Please take care, stay safe, and as always, make good choices. Bye.